Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's sort of film show with James and Ed, Crazy Riggs and The1stBAT. And tonight we are going to watch and talk about The Last StarFighter. So Last StarFighter came out in the mid-80s. Sort of came out of nowhere really. I first saw it on VHS, rental. But it's just one of these films that I love to revisit. The effects aren't quite as good as they once were, but at the time they were really cutting edge, lots of CG work. But the story is really great, and as we'll go through the conversation, you'll find that there's a number of facts that have prevented there being sequels and reboots and all sorts of different sort of stuff. So that's it for the intro. Ed is here. Hello, Ed.
Hello.
And without further ado, we'll kick off the chat and kick off the movie.
You were lucky. First time you saw this, VHS. First time I saw this, ITV.
Really?
Yes. You know, when they cut all the best bits out.
Yeah. Because there's some... I know I just said it before, but there was some really, really good sort of low budget teen films out and young adult films. Now, in the 80s I was 11 in 1988, so I wasn't very old. But this is a sort of film that came out on VHS and totally blew you away. You're like, how is this not bigger? It was quite a few years after Star Wars. Had a young lead, but it also featured video games.
Yeah. And it does contain one sci-fi classic actor. Will Wheaton is in this film.
Is he?
Yeah.
Pre-fame, pre-Star Trek The Next Generation, Will Wheaton.
Yes.
But post the Stephen King movie he did. Stand By Me, God almighty, what a pause.
Oh yes. Dramatic pause there, for effect.
Very, very true. I mean, if they got the opportunity to properly HD up the graphics on this, I mean, we're watching the 25th anniversary Blu-ray. Love the premise of this film, brilliant idea.
Yeah, because I think the guy who wrote it, he got the idea when he was walking through a video game arcade.
Okay.
And he saw a kid playing one of the machines, and he was just like, oh, you know what? I reckon it'd make a good film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so the premise is, as Ed said, it's a young kid stuck, going nowhere. He's just about ready to leave high school. He ends up having to help around the family property, which is like a caravan park. But when he wants to go to college, can't go. But he's become like this expert in this video game called The Last StarFighter, which turns out to be a training video. Training video, is it quite right? Training experience.
The thing you find about a lot of these 80s movies as well, they are feel-good movies, because I mean they're all close-knit communities, they've got great storylines, and they got crazy ladies.
You've got Flight the Navigator, all sort of...
Was the Batteries Not Included around?
Batteries Not Included, yeah, I think that was 87. I think Batteries Not Included. Whereas this is 85, I think. Karate Kid, which we will do at some stage with the unageable Ralph Macchio. I think he still looks exactly the same now. I swear that Ed, as a kid, would definitely have been Lewis, the little brother who would go along and just wind the neighbours up.
Yeah. There's nothing like winding up the neighbours. Don't think I'll be wearing that pink t-shirt that says Action Man on it though. Was it pink?
But I think it probably would have been red, but it's kind of faded. Because I wanted to remake it, didn't I? But the writer wasn't interested, or he's got his own ideas, and he's very, very strange, the sort of things he's suggesting.
I think it's the thing, though. I mean, like for us, we've had conversations in the past. There's a lot of 80s movies which you should just leave alone. They're cult classics. This is, to me, a cult classic of a movie, but I think you would get away with updating it.
Yeah. Don't know whether one of the plans is to make it into a TV series. I think it would do well as a TV series. You can sort of spread it out. Skip to the end, spoiler alert. There is potential for it to have had a sequel, but unfortunately never quite materialised.
Well, it's like you said, I mean, if they made it into a TV series, I mean, you have got the scope to expand it and expand the universe, the characters.
I think there's a big opportunity at the moment because, you know, I'm a big comic book fan. I love superhero stuff, but I don't watch, apart from the Netflix stuff, many of the TV series because I find a 22 episode, 24 episode season too much of a commitment to watch. Even on catch up, I probably would really struggle. I tried to watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It got a bit better, but I really struggled to enjoy it. Never got really into Arrow very much. I know The Flash is supposed to be better, but I've not really got into that.
What a lot of the TV directors and producers are finding now, they are, although there are shows with 22, 24 episodes, they are starting to cut them back a bit. I mean, you've got, I've just started watching The 100.
Yeah.
16 episodes. Might still be a bit much, I've only just started watching it. You've got quite a few Sci-Fi channel shows, 13 episodes. If you've got something that's 13 episodes, you need to keep your story moving.
Yeah. When
you've got 22 episodes, you have to find some filler. And of course, people get bored.
I mean, back in the day, we both really enjoyed Smallville. The first sort of up to about season 5 were really, really good, very inventive. First season was very much imagine Superman being in an X-Files, and then as the series progressed it became much more of a continuing narrative. But again, I mean, it would have probably been renewed again if they wanted it to, because it was so successful, but you could tell they were seriously running out of ideas.
I think the thing you find as well, in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, TV shows, movies, you could go and you could watch them and you wouldn't get people writing an after-day full spoiler thing of what happened. Because I think that's the trouble with a lot of TV shows now, because obviously they take longer to come to the UK, some of them. By the time you get it, you already know what's happened. And I think that's why sometimes the Netflix and the Amazon Prime TV series are better, because they dump the whole season online exactly the same day. You can watch it at your leisure and it doesn't get spoiled.
So apparently this is one of the first movies to do all its special effects, excluding makeup and explosions, on a computer. All done on a Cray XMP computer as well. A lot of people may or may not know the Cray supercomputer, and maybe it's one of the precursors to that. And I'm pretty sure if you and I were playing Xbox or PlayStation right now, the rest of the neighbourhood would not come flooding into my house right now, wanting to see one of us beat the high score. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't be interested in seeing that, but...
Especially the older generation, because there seems to be quite a lot of older people there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, even the pets are getting involved.
Indeed. High fives.
That would be slightly gutting because you've now beat the top score on the only arcade machine in probably 200 miles.
I had a very short shooting time. I did the whole film in 40 days, which was really quick.
What sort of budget did it have?
Budget-wise, it was $15 million.
I suppose a lot of that went on the effects back then.
I was just looking at another couple of facts here. Quite like this fact. In 2007, a musical based on the movie was performed as part of New York Musical Theatre Festival.
Wicked.
Truth is, you're scared of leaving us.
So apparently in 2009 it was announced that the long-awaited sequel titled StarFighter was going into production. Film will take place 25 years after the original film, with Norman Snow confirmed to return as Zur. Ultimately, the sequel was never made. It may have followed a grown-up Lewis Rogan, who misses his brother and is brought to Rylos to become a starfighter himself, or it may have involved Alex and Maggie's Rylos-born son or daughter, who sets out to settle the score with Zur when Alex is killed during a Kodan attack. So the Kodan is the Empire basically in this particular film. So it's interesting as well. Like a lot of good science fiction, it's based on some forms of fact. So in World War II, the French Air Force had a bomber aimer as the aircraft commander. So they would be in a better position to direct the aircraft. And the last starfighter with its gun star rather than the navigator, they are critical to the success of the mission.
I think that's the thing with a lot of movies. If you've got some elements of true fact, helps with making it more believable.
Yeah. Yeah, because I suppose the other sort of films that you'd automatically think of like this would be like War Games, which perhaps we'll do in a future show. But you've got sort of other films that sort of came at the time is Roger Corman's Battle Beyond the Stars. You've got Dune, which is weird as hell. Enemy Mine, which is phenomenal.
That's
a really, really good film. And perhaps we'll do that one. We tended to pick a lot of B movies or films that are very cult classic. Apart from Lethal Weapon isn't a B movie; it's an A movie. But we'll try and sort of mix these up a little bit. One of my favourite camp films of all time, which we will definitely do in a future show, is Flash Gordon. Then you've got stuff like Inner Space, Krull.
Oh, Krull, awesome.
With the glaive. What's that game where you had the glaive on Xbox 360?
I remember that one.
Say hello to my assistant, Beta.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can see it now. You'd be able to give it different sorts of like fire and ice power.
Centauri is impressed. I've seen him come and I've seen him go, but you're the best, my boy. Dazzling. Light years ahead of the competition. Which is
another sort of films that I can see on here that are connected to this that I definitely would have seen on video. Lady Hawk.
Yeah.
Which is a really good film with Michelle Pfeiffer and Rutger Hauer. And Matthew Broderick, believe it or not. Starman, which we spoke about a little bit last week, particularly in relation to John Carpenter. Tron, which always looked better. I think even at the time I was never really a massive Tron fan. I like the idea of it more than the execution. Beastmaster, which according to the IMDb has a critic rating of 18 out of 100. 18.
Well, they made a TV series of Beastmaster.
They've done all sorts. Well, some of the subsequent sequels, the effects are hilarious. And yes, There's a speed gun. It's just watched a car doing 303.
Where are you going? Where are you taking me?
The Ice Pirates, which I kind of remember. I'm pretty sure I saw that on video, on VHS, same DVD these days. You got Willow, and then War Games as well, which is classic. This was Robert Preston's last film as well. I think he died of cancer not long after he made this. Old Centauri.
Next the car in this is based a little bit on the DeLorean, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the effects still... It's almost there, like they're pre-render now. They're just lacking that little bit of detail. But bearing in mind that this film... Sorry, I've got the year wrong. This film was made in 1984. So you're talking about a film that has effects light years ahead.
But visually, colour-wise, it is stunning for the time.
Oh, completely.
That ain't going to creep you out in any way.
Definitely not. It's quite interesting. In 1990, a NES version of the film was released called The Last Starfighter. But rather than being The Last Starfighter, instead it was Iridium from the Commodore 64. It just See, that's another thing, wouldn't it? It's like with Goonies, PG. You've just seen a kid here look at a Playboy magazine, which you'd never, ever in a million years get anything like that appearing today.
No.
Wow, Atari, who made the arcade machine, couldn't produce it on a mass scale because in order to release it, each machine would have cost $10,000.
Ouch. Some nice visual effects there as well.
Yeah, I mean, the baiting is quite clever, so rather than Alex just disappearing and no one knows where he is, in the film what they do is they create something called the beta unit, which is basically a robotic duplicate. Starts off being a faceless creature, faceless robot, robotic humanoid, and once he's made contact, or once the beta unit makes contact with you, he's able to replicate you exactly. Voice, hair, everything. Just takes a little bit of time. So if we look at the Gunstar, which is a nice looking spaceship, where does it fit for you in sort of sci-fi?
Gunstars.
Spaceships. What's your pinnacle?
Dream.
So let's look at top 5 because it's easier, isn't it? Or top 5 or top 10. But what's the starships that you would want to be able to fly?
Well, top's got to be the Millennium Falcon. I think everybody would like to fly that.
No, you hear English thanks to your translator device.
As of a lot of the Star Wars fighters, because I mean they're quite nice. But really and truthfully, as well, dropship from Aliens.
Nice.
I reckon that'd be quality. From the TV series, the original 80s TV series, Viper from Battlestar Galactica.
Nice. So that's 3.
Yeah. Obviously, you could say Gunstar from this be up there. Not that the movie's... I mean, the movie's not out yet. Looking at the new Independence Day Resurgence, the Earth-based ships they've got in that look quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, because the original alien ships aren't really what you class as top.
Sort of mini flying saucers, aren't they?
And the ship from Spaceballs.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
With the sticker attached?
Oh,
Great for nobody?
Yes, definitely. What about you? Any you'd add to that?
Well, I think you've named some classics, definitely. I think to add to that, I would definitely include the Starship Enterprise. Any variant of it, no matter what, whether it's from the original series or all the way up to next generation versions of it.
Stand between us and the black terror of the Coder.
I like the X-Wing, but I think if I was going to go for a Star Wars ship other than the Millennium Falcon, it's got to be a TIE Fighter, because they're badass, and I probably would go TIE Advance, just because they've got that extra bit of sharpness and edge to them.
Yeah.
I would very merrily go on the ship from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, with its with improbability drive. The Serenity from Firefly. It's a cool looking little ship.
It's a shame that it got canned.
Yeah, way too early. I think the other one I would probably choose is I would go on a Battlestar, because I think the Battlestars look amazing. I think them, like the Star Trek ships, I like the way they move, because it's similar to old naval ship battles.
Yeah.
They're slow, they're cumbersome, they pack a lot of firepower and great defence, but the idea is they move in a certain way. They don't quite move around like the fighter planes that you get in other films. So we've looked about ships. Let's think about some epic pilots from science fiction.
Are you delirious?
So
You know how long it took to invent the games, to merchandise them, to get them into the store
we've
by
got.
Christmas?
You can automatically assume that Han Solo, Luke Skywalker. I'm not good. I'm going to say Darth Vader, because I refuse to say the other name.
That was a game.
Boba Fett,
Game.
Wedge Antilles,
You may have thought it was a game.
Lando Calrissian, Num Num, Chewbacca. Those guys are in. We know about those guys. They're epic. They're highly skilled.
And the new one, Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron, yeah.
Here I am, about to be killed.
Who else have we got? Who else can we
Make it
include?
dangerous, do you? Don't be
See, I mean, it's the thing. I mean, like you said, from Battlestar Galactica, obviously Apollo and Starbuck.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go both new and old with those. They were great pilots.
I think you got Wash, haven't you, from Serenity and Firefly? He's a great pilot.
For the good of old Ryland.
I mean, when you look at some of them, the thing that you look at, I mean, for me, is some of, like, say, the epic battles that they've been in.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me as well, I mean, it's going to sound bad. I mean, I can't remember many of the names, or any of the names, but some of the pilots from Space Above and Beyond, the TV series. A bit later on, TV series, some of the pilots from Stargate, when they started bringing the ships into that.
Yeah. I mean, another ship that we didn't mention before, which perhaps we should have done,
Invent the game, find the kid, drag
is
him
the
up there,
X-Bomber.
and he doesn't want to be a starfighter. I give up.
So for a lot of people who don't know what the X-Bomber is, there's Marination series from Japan called Starfleet. It's on, if you've got Amazon Prime, it's on Amazon Prime at the moment, and it's a phenomenally good show. It still stands up now, and the X-Bomber is a genius ship.
Yeah.
It's got loads and loads of really cool weapons, and best of all, it can create and does create a giant mech.
Di-X.
Di-X.
Which, from my point of view, if you like Power Rangers, a lot of the Zords from Power Rangers, I believe, are based on Di-X.
I agree. I think massively influential over loads of stuff. So all your Gundams, all your Voltron, which I spoke about in the other podcast recently, all that sort of stuff, definitely influenced by DiX. Zur is definitely one of cinema's brilliant sci-fi baddies.
Even on Rhinos. You're right, Grim. It does take more than a scepter.
He does. He has that sort of
How long must we endure this fool?
thing where you assume that he is a fool, but he is actually quite nuts.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I mean, the thing is, when you go up trying to think about ships and all sorts of things like that, because for us, a lot of the 80s is a pinnacle time for movies, comics, video games, all sorts of things like that. You do tend to forget more of the modern stuff. Even if you've seen it yesterday, to you, you'll go, oh, I remember that when I was a kid.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I like about the Kodan Armada. They've not got big laser weapons on their big ship. They fire meteors, actual physical rocks, which is genius weapon system.
So if you actually think about it logically, it's actually quite ingenious because you could actually restock. Once you've used up all your meteors, you could just go around and collect other ones, or even get some from asteroids and things like that, break them off, and you've restocked your weapon. Ooh, definitely not happy about that.
Nope.
The quality thing about this is obviously he's trying to fix his car that looks like a DeLorean, and DeLoreans break down a lot, so it is accurate.
Could have had a lift.
Yeah, fix the car, leaves him behind.
I know. I mean, what's really clever there is that there's been they've sent a bounty hunter to try and kill Alex, so there's no more Starfighters in the universe. And the training Excalibur sort of MacGuffin of the arcade machine has spotted the bounty hunter and made him change from his human disguise back to his alien self.
What the shit? I said back to sleep, Louis, or I'm telling Mom about your Playboys. Come in, Katari.
I think I do like about this film, the youngest actor in it swears twice.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else swears in it.
No, it's just a little kid. What the shit? They're not completely original, but there's something different about them from everything else. But I think this would make a really good series because you can explore the Star League more, get a feel for the planets.
See, this is one of the things that when you actually think about it, obviously they send a bounty hunter, but if they hadn't have sent a bounty hunter, would he have called Centauri back? Would
Yeah,
he
that's a
have
good
gone
question actually. He might not have done. Why would he? He wouldn't have needed to, would he?
Nah.
Got that with a nail in it. It's gonna leave a mark.
Certainly is. So rock beats scissors, 2x4 with nails beats bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Well, alien bounty hunter.
Definitely. Oh, but alien bounty hunter likes to drool everywhere.
Come on, Alice.
I see what I should do. It's got a really young Van Damme to do it. So then it could be another movie where Van Damme is Van Damme.
Yeah.
So find about these films as well, which was quite good for a lot of 80s films. They brought in the fact that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Bad things happen
Yeah.
to get an outcome. I mean, you look at it, you look at The Empire Strikes Back, you think, Rebels are going to win. No, Rebels get their asses kicked. And it's like this. There's an element of threat, and you get engrossed in the fact that, you know, they might not possibly pull it off.
Yeah, you're quite right.
So, I mean, sometimes you find in films nowadays, because you look at it, and obviously you've got your main characters, and they're the heroes, and they keep, like we were saying, like some of the TV shows, they're up against impossible odds, but you know they're going to live.
Yeah.
And it takes some of that drama out of it, because you're there thinking, I ain't worried about him, because I've seen the promo for the next one, and I know he's in the next 10 episodes, because I know he's not going to die now.
Yeah.
Dying.
Great comic humour.
Yeah, there's some good humour in there.
Am I to understand there's a fever frequency, so I can't report back to the Armada?
You're taking a lot on faith,
Ready.
because you've only been told
Yeah.
that Zura's bad. I mean, he might not be. He might be going out to wipe out there.
No, exactly.
These caves, Alex. Fire.
I think it's quite clever as well that the bounty hunter could assume the identity
It's all for real.
of the police officer.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's quite clever as well that the Beta unit has got his own identity, and he doesn't particularly want to be
No, exactly.
shot
Some
at.
personality in there, yeah.
Where would you put that up in the top sci-fi films then? Wing Commander.
I wouldn't.
Ammo packs to peak.
Oh, awesome. Take out all the enemies in one hit.
Indeed.
She won't answer the help. We're locked into the moon's gravitational pull. What do? We die.
Okay, that's a great line.
He is spoken as a true badass.
Yeah. I'm accepting the fact. We lost.
You will stay, won't you?
Oh, another guilt trip.
I know.
How to get things done in the 80s. Guilt trip.
You're capable of it.
Sorry, our retro truck. You can have my spaceship in return.
It's Alex.
Oh, like old Granny's got a shotgun.
I know. Can't believe that there's a robot yet a spaceship's just landed. Yeah, no, can't believe it.
Monster.
All right, it's an alien.
No, wait. Hey, Greg, put away that shotgun. What's wrong with you? This is my friend Greg. Why don't you all meet my friend here? Greg, this is Mrs. Boone.
Hello.
Hello.
And this is Elvira.
Delighted.
Me too. How you doing?
So, what's your rating for this particular film, mate?
Give it a solid 8.
Solid 8.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think it's a good film. It's an 8 out of 10. Really easy watch. It's just over 90 minutes long, so it's a nice sort of length movie.
I think what I enjoy about it is it's got a pace.
Yeah.
There's no stagnancy halfway through. The characters are built up through the story,
Yeah.
not by telling massive amounts of, oh, I came from here, I did this. So, good film.
Yeah. That brings this particular film show to an end. And the other podcast will be recorded later this week, so keep your ears out for that. And thank you, Ed.
You're welcome.
And we'll speak to you all next week. Goodbye for now.